can you tell me about your project in South Portugal?
My project that I just started, it integrates a LIFE project, a European LIFE project, and it's called Life Montado Adapt. So it's about adaptation to climate change of a traditional cultural system, of agroforestry system actually, that is called Montado. And so it's about as well regenerating these kind of systems that are now in decay because of very bad practices during the years. This is traditionally it was extensive system of using agriculture, forestry and grazing, but with the times the use got very intensive, and so now the system is really decaying. Like trees are dying, the soil is totally impoverished, and so it's very clear that the system is with big problems. So adding to this the challenge of climate change, make very important that new or just good practices will be experimented and showed in some test areas for showing that there is a possibility to do better and to regenerate the system. So this will be in a 100-hectare farm, it's not a farm, a land, and yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Imagine.
Yes. What about your project, Dee?
So Community Gardens Ireland is where I'm involved. It's a voluntary organisation, and we began around 2010, 2011 with the idea of finding all the community gardens in Ireland and connecting them. So a community garden is a shared space, a bit like this garden here, often a vegetable garden. You share all the work and you share all the produce. So it's a bit different from an allotment where you just go and work a little piece of land on your own. So a community garden is as much about the social aspect as it is about the growing. However, when people are involved in community gardens, there are huge benefits, which include learning about food and soil and sustainability and the environment. So it has a much greater reach than just learning about growing carrots. So Community Gardens Ireland set up to try and link all of the gardens together, if you like, to network so that we could all learn from each other and help new people set up. So there's gardens all over the country, different networks. We're now starting to create networks within the country. So Donegal has its own community garden network. We're starting one in Carlow, and so that's a bit of a snapshot of Community Gardens Ireland.
When do you say that it's voluntary?
It's all, we don't get paid, it's all voluntary.
Okay.
So we all have our regular jobs, but a bunch of volunteers kind of not run the organisation, but we kind of manage the organisation. Part of it is that we try and meet every 3 months in different parts of the country, and we can chat about, meet new people, new community gardens, and have little workshops as well that will help. So we've got one coming up soon actually, which we're talking about how climate change will affect growing and gardening, and we'll be introducing GROW to that actually, and the different programmes GROW has that we can that can help people feel a bit more empowered and less helpless with climate change.
Okay, so these workshops are for the gardeners, for the people that...
They're for the gardeners, yeah. So, yeah, they're very interesting, and you get to meet new people as well the whole time, which is always good fun. How are you bringing GROW into your project?
In these 100 hectares land, which is state-owned, by the way, we will apply different techniques for regeneration of the land and of the systems itself. We will also apply, apply or set up land uses that are nowadays not present there, like dry fruits orchard that we admit that may be good for this kind of climate, may be suitable. So we will as well make from this land kind of different managements that we are also not so sure which will be the most suitable to regenerate or to adapt to an unknown climate in the future. So it makes sense to monitor these management or these techniques at the soil level. In this way, it's perfect that we have this opportunity to put these soil sensors in these different pieces of land or plots with the different techniques that we are using or up to use. It's 100 hectares, so I think we can use quite a lot of sensors. Do you feel that there is kind of a community of citizen scientists in Ireland?
I think it's quite new, actually. My feelings are that it's quite new, but people do want to do something. You know, I think climate change is worrying so many people, and we all feel helpless. So this is something we can do to better understand it anyway. So it's something we're going to have to work at helping people to do. They have had different citizen science projects actually, with the biodiversity centre, looking for bees and bumblebees. So it is happening. But this is just a different approach. Yeah. How did you get involved in, or what made you think about soil in the beginning?
Soil is very fascinating matter, but at the same time, this is a very complex science for me, and I keep struggling with it. But in true, I would like to understand much more, at least the basics. And for me, it's amazing, this idea to understand that soil is made of from a process of accumulation, of deposition, always deposition, deposition, deposition. And they say it takes around 100 years to build up 1 centimeter of soil, like just an average, of course,
yeah.
Or more, yes. And then I get shocked with the idea that so fast we are just removing. In the most conventional practice, at least in my country yet, we are just removing from the soil and not adding nothing. So this is very shocking because we are just losing fertility at an astonishing rate, and people are not realizing why. So actually it's very clear why, but it has to come to the mind of people, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose my journey it's really what started me in learning more about it. Going back to college as a full-time student, a mature student, was because of soil, really. I was growing food at home and growing veg, but I kept thinking, if we keep taking stuff out of the soil, surely we must have to put something in. And what do we put in? And nobody really seemed to be able to tell me back then. It was before the days of the internet, and I kept reading books. So I ended up going to college and studying horticulture to try and learn. But I laughed because even with full-time college, they still didn't really answer my soil questions. It seemed, I actually remember sitting in the soil science class for the very first morning and just tears were welling up because I just felt such a panic that I didn't understand the science. But really, it's not so bad. It just needs to be explained in a different way. I think it's just being a bit maybe poorly explained, really. So, but it is a fascinating what's going on under here. Yeah. And I think the other thing was when somebody said to me, you know, the whole of the planet is covered in kind of this much topsoil, and it's feeding the whole of the world. So it might be this much in some places and this much in other places, but it's still just a layer of soil around the planet. And we're looking and we're just pulling at it all the time for everything, and we need to be looking after it. So I think and so that kind of was why I was so excited when Community Gardens Ireland were approached to be involved with the GROW, is because it gave us an opportunity to help people better understand soil. I think the online programs that we can offer people through the project just give really good basic instruction on what soil texture is and how to understand it, and it's free. So if we can just help more people understand soil, then maybe, hopefully, people will start looking after it better and not treating it like dirt. So, yeah.
Do you know that sentence, feed your soil, not your plants?
Yes, yeah, if you feed your soil, the plants will look after themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this was very inspiring sentence for me in a permaculture context, and it really changed the way I started to think about soil.
Yes, yes, absolutely.